Hey everyone, and welcome back to Planet Coaster. We'll be working on another coaster station today. This one is going to be a little bit different. It is a taller structure, and also it is a little bit smaller. The park count's still, over 1,000 or so, but what I wanted to do is maybe get a little bit more greenery elements. And so today's theme is kind of an elvish, kind of wood elf-like temple that is just parked here alongside of the road. Now, I was also thinking about maybe making it look partially destroyed, but I don't think the elves would really let that happen. They would let it get a little overgrown, most likely, so you guys will see that later on when we get there. But I spent a lot of time here initially just kind of laying out some curving paths, because curving paths, not really something I do often in Planet Coaster. I think I fall into the habit of just building kind of more straight inline pathing, and that can look a little dull. And then I'm going to be building up the foundation. Now, it is going to be, as I said, a smaller structure. As you can see, it's not much wider than the coaster station itself. We'll add a little bit of a brake run area there, just at the entrance, and also a little bit of a hill and turn at the bottom, just so you guys can have something to get started with. I'm not taking this coaster to completion, as we have been with the kind of coaster station series that we've been working on. These are kind of default things that you guys can hopefully use in different themes and parks. I figured the hybrid coaster would work pretty well here with the elf kind of theme, simply because you're going to have those wooden supports, but also the capabilities to do twists and inversions, unlike the normal wooden coaster. And I think that kind of fits an elvish kind of style, just because they're a little bit more elegant and a little bit more agile, you could say. So that's why we're going with a hybrid today instead of just the normal wooden. And plus, we already did the wooden coaster. The roof and basic building shape is very, Nordic to start out. It almost looks like a lodge of some kind, or possibly an old Celtic church, maybe. Lots of little tiers of roofing elements, and it is a little tough to do this kind of stuff simply because not all the roofing pieces have the same inclines that are usable. And so what you have to do is you kind of have to mix and match, but also because they all color slightly different, you're going to have some decoloration in the roofing a little bit. But that's not too bad, because it's fine. It can be an older structure. The roof doesn't have to be 100% the same color anyways. But the thing I'm basically modeling this after is some ruins, something similar to maybe an Aztec, where you have more openings and more boxes just being supported by columns, and then open rooms. One that kind of makes the thing look a little bit taller than it already is, simply because we're having these vertical beams running up this side. They do add a little bit of extra detail as well. It is a simple structure, though, in terms of what all is here. We just have simple walls and columns. I'm not trying to do too many overhangs and underhangs with this. I wanted something a little bit more just wide at the base and gets narrower as you go up. Pretty reminiscent of the cathedral to your right there, in the sense that we just have kind of a central tower to work off from. We want to try and come up with some interesting patterns and shapes using this more light color. I went with a dark stone base, and then we're going to just contrast that directly by using this light sandstone asset here that will hopefully kind of make the whole thing pop and make it look pretty clean looking. And elves, I would assume, are pretty clean, unless you're going with drow or something, but this isn't the Underdark, so we'll just stick to maybe a high elf or just a normal wood elf theme here, though it is a little repetitive, and I think that's fine. It's fine to have repetitive elements in a building, or a building that repeats the same thing over and over. You'll see this roof line. Essentially what we do is have a column, a little wooden ornate kind of ending there, some of which will have this extra little horn atop. These are usually reserved for the main peaks, and everything else will just have that little jut. Otherwise, we'll have some wooden stuff kind of colored the same color as the sandstone, so that they at least kind of blend in and keeps, you know, the rest of the roof line a little lighter, and also hopefully blend into these kind of support columns that we're laying out along the top there. And when I said this is a simple structure, you know, I could have gone in and really gave this ornate roof line, you know, a lot of work and a lot of detail, but it's hard to plan ahead when you start thinking at the nitty-gritty like that. And so that's why these buildings, you'll see that I start these out and I pretty much pre-plan the whole structure immediately. So I know roughly how big the structure is, I can see the roof line already, and then I'll go in and manually place details along there. Now that's just simply to try and avoid over detailing or using too many blocks in just one section so that I can't save it as a blueprint, because these are for you guys. These are for you guys to use and hopefully enjoy. And you know, as I always wanted to say is that I'm so appreciative with this community and Planet Coaster in general, that I feel really obligated, not because of pressure or anything, but because I feel like you guys deserve to have a lot of fun things to choose from off the workshop. You know, there's over 40,000 things on there. You know, the little bit that I do contribute will help the people that, you know, aren't as comfortable building as we veterans since Alpha are. And hopefully, you know, this will at least keep people engaged and have fun with the game, because I want this thing to have a really long lifespan. And I want it to have, you know, a bunch of expansions, you know, DLC, whatever, you know, having some, you know, possibly more water elements would be cool. Physics-based water would be cool, and the only way we're going to be able to get that is, one, to constantly ask for it, but also, two, is to support the development by, you know, getting people interested in the game enough to continue playing it. You know, City Skylines, for example, is still supported and still getting updated, and, you know, the modding scene's great, and the YouTubing scene on that is very active, and people are making wonderful things. And I want Planet Coaster to be like that, but for the theme park side of things. And I think it has that potential, and it's pretty much already at that status. We just need to keep kind of, you know, supporting them in their efforts. Frontier has made a great game here, and I think I got a little too rambly with that. I kind of stopped talking about the building, but there's not much more to talk about beyond what we already did. It is a repetitive kind of structure. You know, you can get a little intricate with some of the support columns if you want. You can do little half arches here and different elements to give more vertical lines, and possibly some additional triangles. Just simple shapes upon simple shapes stack up really well. They're easy to read from a distance. And, you know, taller structures that you slowly build up, you might want them to be simple and easy to read from afar. Having too much detail might look good up high, but when you go down to ground level, you're just going to lose all that detail most likely. And if you don't do it correctly, you might end up just kind of muddying the waters and making it almost unreadable. So that is a concern. But also, you know, lag, latency, things like that. Not everyone has this an awesome computer to run this game, and even if you do, the FPS is still kind of an issue with part counts. And hopefully that gets improved as well as we go through the many years of development that this game will have beyond its initial release. The towers here are actually some of the only windowed elements. I wanted something to let some light into the upper floors. In my mind, there would be upper floors. Of course, we're not going to be constructing those in this. It would be a little silly to do so. Could technically, if you were to take this into your own park and mess around with it, add elements, you could turn this into a pretty much a masterpiece where you could have restaurants and stuff in the upper floor, and balconies and overhangs coming across from cliff sides, you know, nestle this into a valley. There's so many options when you have something simple like this and kind of centered and grounded that you can take it and run with it into many directions. Like for here, for the pathing along the front, I'm simply using rocks and things like that. You can easily work that on top of a mountain if that's something you want to do, or work that into more of a cliff's edge or at the bottom of a valley. There's a lot of placement options with this sort of thing. And keeping it small and compact is necessary so that you guys also still maintain those options going forward. But we'll be using some rocks. You know, a lot of nature will hopefully be in here. I will be skipping a little bit of it because placing rocks a whole lot can be a little repetitive for you guys to watch. But basically what you do is you want to do layers. Think about the layers of the earth when you're doing this. You're going to have those kind of showing through when you're doing these. So, you know, kind of flat shingled like elements, and you'll be pretty good. Now the overgrown part, you know, pretty simple, straightforward stuff. You just kind of fit the greeneries in the more flat sections of the rocks. That way they actually make sense as to why there might be some green elements there. You can touch some corners with some taller trees. I'd like the swamp tree there just because the roots look like they're wrapping around the rocks a little bit more than the standard oak tree or something like that. They have a very flat root system, unlike the swamp one or the one on the right, which I forget its name. You know, some little pebbles here and there, you know, something to just make the terrain out front kind of stand on its own a little bit. And of course, as you guys add this to your own park or change it, use it however you want, you are free to add, take away things, rework the top like I'm doing. I didn't really like the orb type of like a Russian structure there. I went with more just a normal windowed peak at the top. I think that matched the building style a little bit better than that round item. And more rock placement, you know, trying to fill in some of the dead space, make some of this look really overgrown in the front. A lot of wide bushes. You want to layer your greenery elements. You know, you want to have maybe some shorter things in the front so that people can see the building. And then as you get back, you can make it taller. You can also introduce possibly some trees and things. This is Elvish, so we can kind of integrate the nature into the structure itself and make it look like trees are starting to grow up along the roof just by simply insetting it into the building. And there's plenty of room to kind of insert that in there as long as you angle your trees correctly and lay them in such a manner. So at this point, we're pretty much done with the speed build section. We'll go ahead and kick it over to real time so you guys can kind of take a look at everything. Give me your feedback as always, and possibly download it from the description down below. Okay, so here we are. This is the Green Lodge, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of a multi-purpose building. It can fulfill many roles, but the simple, clean lines of the vertical pillars going up and the repetitive nature has some sort of nice feeling to it, I think. Hopefully you guys agree with that. And if it's too repetitive, let me know. And I might be able to change some things. Or if you don't like it in general, maybe I will delete it altogether. Who knows? Actually, no, I won't delete it. It'll just be uploaded to the workshop and no one will download it and everyone will hate me. So down here we got the wonderful kind of little overgrown garden. You know, I leave the front kind of open enough so you guys can maybe wind the path a little bit more if that's something you want to do with this. Also, it kind of leaves you open to switch the entrance and exit if that's also something you want to do. And extend the queues for as long as you want. I think this is technically, in my opinion, my go-to queue length, just because anything more than that, you might find that the more popular rides will get basically draw so much people that no one else want to ride other things because the queue is long enough to kind of gather enough people and kind of hold them there and lock them away from the rest of their park for a while. So I prefer shorter queues myself. And over this way, you know, you got the exit of the station where the cart will simply just roll downhill and fall off the track. You know, best ride, 10 out of 10. Some overgrown trees kind of making their way up the back side. And a little balcony out the back. Some moss, roots and things. You know, just things that are reclaiming the building a little bit or integrating nature in a kind of nice, simple fashion. Do like the spire. You know, it does remind me a lot of that over there, just because, you know, it is that main tall central element and it has kind of a boxy feel to it, a lot of clean edges on it. Working, you know, a whole bunch of different trees and things. You want to keep your trees and bushes, one, varied so that you have a nice color variation. At least that's what I like to do. Some people would argue that, you know, you wouldn't see all these trees together in one place, and I argue that this is a theme park and they can make it look however they want. Pine trees, you know, just sparsely put. It's kind of my favorite thing to do. I like the broadleaf kind of stuff. If this was winter kind of themed, you know, like over here, obviously we would go mainly and only pine trees. The inside, very open and spacious. You guys are free to go in and add details in here as well, and hopefully make this look something however you want. However you want to decorate the rest of the ride, I would recommend coming into the interior and decorating that to match so that, you know, everything is cohesive. There is, you know, spots for people to kind of put knickknacks, and I think people would enjoy that as well. Added some gold trim along some of these using the icing. The icing is a great piece to do that with, even up here. And, you know, the overgrown ivy and things wrapping over the windows just has a really nice, pleasant feel to it, I think. So I think that's going to do us here for this build of Planet Coaster. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you're new. Hit that like button so I know you guys enjoy Planet Coaster and want to see a whole bunch more of it. Seems to be the most popular thing. Go ahead and leave a comment down below on what you guys think, what to change, add, and also what to build next. I'm actually kind of running out of ideas and themings. You know, we've done the Alpine kind of thing. We've done a dark ride, which is the most popular thing that I've ever made, apparently. We have a little Western mining for a wooden coaster. Now we have a hybrid Elvish kind of coaster. We also have, you know, an ATM for Ebenezer Scrooge's house and workplace, and the Cathedral of Light from World of Warcraft. So, you know, I want to fill up this whole park just with full of random builds that you guys are suggesting and just want to see and hopefully use in your own parks themselves. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.